Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome everyone into the Computer America Show. We are the nation's longest running nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology turned podcast. Everyone, welcome into the program. Today on the show, we have the one, the only, Mr. Nathan Evans. And Nathan Evans, he is, of course, a longtime Computer America correspondent, managing editor over at Popzara.com. You can go check them out. Everything that has to do with pop culture, current events, movies, books, TV shows, anime, manga, video games. Oh my God, there's a little bit of everything in there. Him and his team over there, made up of a lot of great people, work to, bring you reviews and articles and, just a little something every single day to make your life better. So we're going to have Nathan on here in just a moment, but everyone, computeramerica.com. That's where you'll find everything, including past shows, future shows, everything you need to know, podcasts, there's articles, reviews. We'll have some new articles up there soon. But I do also need to mention that while we've been doing the live streaming thing for, a couple of weeks now, and I think we're, starting to work through all of that, and, we've had some great interviews, and I'm really enjoying the format. I guess one thing that I'm kind of remiss is because I'm going through my day-to-day, just, kind of working on the show and doing the thing. And I haven't even mentioned, once yet that today, the 23rd, will be the the last series of podcasts and interviews and things like that until, I think I'm taking most of next week off, and then coming back January 2nd should be when I'm all set up and ready to go again. So, traditionally for Computer America for the past 30 years, we have taken that week off. It's generally about 2 weeks, so just a heads up, no Computer America for a week and a half, but then we'll be back January 2nd, and, I need to check out the calendar here real quick because, we were already starting to fill that up, and I have no idea if this is going to work well, but we already have, seven companies signed up and more on the way, and, I have 300 or 400 email I haven't even been through. So everyone, with that being said, computeramerica.com, social media, blah, blah, blah. Let's go ahead and bring Nathan on. So as I said before, Nathan Evans, longtime contributor and working to some extent. Everyone, welcome back onto the program. Nathan, how you doing?
Ben, what's going on? Your hold music sounds like Daft Punk a little bit.
Thank you. That's, yeah.
Was that what you're going for that?
Yeah, well, honestly, I did want new music, and that's just kind of what hit me. I enjoyed that type of music, so a little bit fresher.
I don't know if it's EDM. Is Daft Punk really EDM or it's electronica? I don't get it. But I do love Daft Punk, and I really like your royalty-free Daft Punk sounding music.
You nailed it. It is indeed royalty-free.
Don't sue.
Well,
please.
And it's really less so of suing. I don't think anyone would bother to sue me, but it's more about getting things muted and, kind of getting things rev taken. And I'm sure that you deal with this all day too. So it's, it's a fun time.
I don't even have any free time. It's all about lawsuits all day long.
You collect them like other people collect baseball cards. So Nathan, and of course, how you been? I mean, hey, it's been a couple of weeks. Doing good?
It's been a couple of weeks. I heard you were taking some time off. I don't know these words. Take time off. I mean, I don't know what that means.
Well, luckily, my team consists of on good days, one other person, but I'm actually allowing myself to do that because hey, you should be your own best advocate. I really believe that.
Look, you have to practice Sun Tzu's law of over-exaggeration. It's like, to fool your enemies, make yourself appear weak. So, I'm so overworked. But you know what? I'll do it because I'm doing it because I love it. I just love every minute of overworking myself.
There you
But
go.
no, it's fun. It's fun. We're having a good time.
Mm-hmm. And of course, I think one of the first topics we're going to talk about here on the show is, of course, we work closely with you when it comes to CES before and after the event. But I guess the big news today, and even as I picked up the story, and every time I refreshed the page, there was like a new edit and a new update. Let's talk about CES real quick, because you have plans. You are going to keep those plans come hell or high water. And
That's true.
yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about CES and some of the recent cancellations. What do you know?
Well, I know about as much as anybody knows because I don't know, and I'm like the smartest man in the village because I don't know. I know that I don't know. So, like the lantern carrying sage, I will just wander into this question and say, CES is probably still going to happen, CES 2021. It didn't happen last year because of a virus of unspecified origins. But I will say that by all means, this was supposed to be a bigger show than it's going to be, but it's going to be something. And I think if you look between the lines, like I think I was reading one article from The Verge, and I had to laugh at the audacity of their hubris. I don't know if you saw their front page. It made me laugh. It made me laugh because on the front page, it's still there right now. If you go to The Verge right now, go down a little bit. Go down. For those who can't see, read that headline. Go back up. Right there. Read that headline. Yeah.
What, CES 2022 loses another key exhibitor as Intel pulls out of in-person show?
Okay, and look what's in much, much, much bigger font right next to it. The Verge will also not be in attendance.
Yeah.
That's hubris. Nobody cares. You're not an exhibitor. You're editorial. But it's bigger and it's more important apparently than friggin' T-Mobile not going. So, but no, Lenovo's never really been that big anyway. They've always been like a mid-tier one. Yeah. T-Mobile, honestly, I don't go to CES for phones. Unless it's a phone cover.
And really, if you unless it's a phone case, but no, exactly. Like
which are free, by the way. At the show.
People care more about like the people who make the phones than the people who service or provide the data plans for the phones. So, but I guess the big part of this is that they are supposed to be the keynote speakers. They are the people who are supposed to stand in front of the crowd. But it's looking like getting people to stand in front of whatever the crowd will be seems to be getting a little hazardous.
Exactly. Like they say things like, "Oh, Pinterest isn't showing up." Oh, boo-hoo, Pinterest, the website about cooking materials online.
How dare you? My mother loves Pinterest.
Exactly. I'm not the demographic. But what I'm saying though is that CES, I don't know if I talked to you about this publicly, but you and I discuss a lot of this behind the scenes. I told you my theory about CES, about what happened after last year. That and I don't want to be thirsty here or a little as the kids say sus. Yeah. But the truth is that where we get most of your tech news, with the exception of the fine people at Computer America, Popzara, of course, they're all kind of frauds a little bit. And what that means is that if you read a website like, and there's some out there that are good, even on the bad ones, but you get your Engadgets, your CNETs, your Ars Technicas, your Verges, and all that stuff. These are people that gatekeep the products you use, the monitors, the phones, the keyboards, the mice, and they like to razzle dazzle you with graphs and pointless benchmarking and things like that. But at the end of the day, they really don't know how to use the toys they're playing with. And I think if you watched the coverage of CES last year when everything had to go all virtual, it's pretty apparent these people don't know what the hell they're talking about. They don't know how to use the monitors they're using. They don't know how to use the laptops. They'll tell you, "Oh, you should buy this $2,000 laptop," which they get a percentage of because we say so. But it's like looking at a supermodel, a person who doesn't pay for the clothes that they're going to offer you. It's they got no skin in the game, Ben. That's a problem.
I honestly, and I honestly struggle with that myself. And I try my best to stay. No. Just having skin in the game, like going out and obviously we get articles for review and things like that. But when it comes time to purchase mice and purchase monitors, like I found myself a couple of years ago, really thinking, this mouse isn't worth $80. This monitor isn't worth $250. $150. And like, I realized like, that's what everyone else has to pay. That's what they, and you know, it really made me kind of step back and think, you know, yeah, I'm getting this stuff for review. And of course, if you get it for review and you get it for free, man, it's proven it's going to be more positive than if you had to pay for it. But
because you're always under the auspices that you might lose the next one. Right. And that's the problem. So, yeah. But can I say something real quick though? Can I say something real quick? I know we're going to go with this. So let me just preface what you're going to say with this. That's not to say that you have to buy something to give it an objective review. That's not what I'm saying. I don't think you're going to say that either. Right. So.
Yeah, no. You could never, and you know, being in this industry, like unless, like that is the issue with large, like, you know, the Verge and Engadget.
Well, there's a lot of issues with the Verge that go well beyond that.
Well, no, and what I'm saying is that like if you want real objective reporting, like making everyone pay for something so they could be quote unquote honest, like then only the people who could afford every single gadget that comes out every single day would be able to review.
Not really, though. I think another phenomenon happens with that too, and that's called
What's that?
There's no real theory for it yet, so I'll have to make one up. But until I make the right moniker up, let's just call it that people who buy something tend to favor the things they buy. And so what happens is, in a world of non-excess, let's say you go to the store and you can only buy one mouse, and you know this mouse has to last you X amount. This mouse has to last you until it dies, essentially, like a real mouse. And so, but a computer mouse. But the problem is, if you get a mouse that's worth $10, $15, not a $500 game mouse, but a $10, $15, you will learn to live with that mouse. You will learn to live with its peccadillos. You will learn to live. Maybe it doesn't have the best response time, or maybe it doesn't have the best pixel density or whatever. But eventually, you'll learn to work with it, and you'll modify with it. It's what happened with keyboards years and years and years and years ago. When keyboards were designed, they were literally designed because a guy was selling keyboards, and he had to use the word QWERTY. We have the QWERTY layout because you could spell typewriter on the top row. There was no scientific reason for that. It's literally a sales tactic. And when you had other people like Dvorak and other people and Ergodynamics, everybody and their sister has tried to redo the keyboard. Yet we're stuck with keyboards that are QWERTY because of muscle memory and cultural retention. It has nothing to do with the keyboard being better. It has everything to do with the fact, we get used to it. We get used to a lot of things.
Let's see, my novice history of keyboards is because, you know, when typewriters had the little arms that swung out and struck the page, you know, that was the quote unquote proven way that, you know, it had the least amount of arms crossing each other so it wouldn't, you know, gunk itself up or mess itself up. But of course, on a computer, boy, that's a little antiquated. So,
but we stuck with it though. We've stuck with it because, and you know what? We've modified it. We've also evolved it. So it wasn't a matter of the fact that we've sat down and designed the perfect keyboard. It's the fact that the perfect keyboard designed itself around us. And humans are creatures of habit. So we use things and we tend to use them. The problem, let's get back to the prospect of reviewing things and how it pertains to CES class. There will be a test on this January 4th through the 8th. No, but the truth of the matter is that when you have these websites, they don't take into account the human factor. They take into account, like I mentioned, meaningless graphs. Full disclosure, Popzara receives stuff to review too all the time. You've seen us. We have good relationships with a lot of people. If we were more popular, we'd have more stuff. But at the end of the day, though, when you make a good relationship, it's based on honesty, trust, and the idea that you're going to review the product fairly and talk about it. But one of those criteria for a lot of products has to do with benchmarking. For the love of me, and God help me, strike me down what I'm going to say, I don't get it. I don't get benchmarking. So what you're telling me is the product in front of you, it's not clear how good it is. So you have to trust a third-party app to tell you what your own eyes can't. And I've never understood that. So what you're telling me is, what do you think about it? I don't want to know what some computer program thinks. I want to know what you think about it. How does it work for your movies, for your games? How does it look when you move the mouse across the screen? I don't need software telling me that, because what happens is we get so caught up in things like sRGB color saturation. We get so caught up in pixel density. We get so caught up in things, we forget that if you have to use a computer program to tell you these things, who's your audience? IBM? It's not a human.
So
it's not a human.
one example that I actually found about this, and I remember seeing it right off the bat, because these are equipment specs that I've never even heard about, and I'm pretty in touch with this stuff.
Look at those things.
And this was the title of this Ars Technica article about 360 hertz monitor. Because I'm still catching my breath from, there's a 144 hertz monitor, and I think they have like a 250 or some odd hertz monitor, and now they have 8,000 hertz keyboards. I mean, essentially they're saying that the latest tech in the industry is this stuff, and this stuff, like you said, is not exactly being used by everyday people. This is extreme.
Every day. Okay, first of all, I don't want to see the person who uses that mouse on a daily basis. But I'll say this though. But we
just
also
more Dorito
have to give
dust.
CES,
Yeah,
exactly. But we got to give CES a little bit of the doubt, because we all know, Ben, that a lot of the fun of CES is seeing all these wacky things that will never come out. It's sort of like seeing the floor models that run, on the runways, that wear these ridiculous outfits that will never come out. But I get it. If you're into that, you're not even seeing demos. You're just seeing people sort of vent their frustrations at design. You're going to see keyboard designs that are never going to come out, mice that are never going to see the light of day, because they're stupid, and they all know they're stupid. But it's fun seeing stupid things a little bit.
There's two products that I can even bring up right now about products that will likely never see the light of day, and you have like this one here. If you're watching the video portion, LG Display brought LG brought a reclining curved
I saw that
OLED
30 years
throne.
ago.
Did you?
You want to see it? Oh, yeah. Go open a browser right now and type in, if you're listening at home, Sega G-Lock arcade game. Look it up.
Sega G-Lock.
G-Lock arcade game. Look it up.
It does look like a half canister. I remember at Disney Quest, if anyone knows what I'm talking about, Disney Quest had this where you would see it inside, but it was actually on like a giant arm, and it would, it would actually throw you around like a virtual roller coaster, and the screen was a roller coaster. It was, a lot like that.
I mean, they have their place, but I mean, you look at these things, right? And you say to yourself, okay, what's the concept here? What thing can I say it? Look at that. Look at that.
When I was growing up, I spent a lot of time.
Yep.
No, go back.
We're still.
You see it though? Did you see the picture of it?
Yep. Yeah, 1 second. I got this. It's G-Lock right here. This gentleman here.
Looks similar? It's the exact same design. It's exactly the same thing. These people have run out of ideas. How can we make putting someone in front of a computer screen different? You know what? Hey, here's a hint. You can't. It's someone in front of a computer screen. And no matter what they do, it's like a movie theater. They had 4D seats that vibrate your buttocks. They have all this kind of stuff to make it immersive. You know what? You know the best part about going to a movie? I'm actually not in a fighter jet. I'm actually not busting ghosts. I'm nice and safe and dry, where everything is nice and coordinated, nice and comfortable. I don't want to mimic what it's like to be like with Tom Cruise at the altitude of, the gods. I don't want that. That's a ripoff.
Yeah, but like this media chair, like you said, it was things that you're never going to see. This is not going to be mass produced. This is not like the future of a television is not strapping it to a recliner, in some weird display. But hey, you're going to see it at CES.
I mean, yeah, it's fun to see though. I mean, honestly, can I be dead honest with what it really looks like?
Sure.
This looks like a high blood pressure machine. That's what it really looks like. It looks like you put your arm in there. It's like,
yeah, and it kind of leans you back. It's like, relax while we take your pressure. Yeah.
Exactly. And by the way, the new ones
are also
terrible.
Checks your prostate. It's good.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We're kidding, but a doctor's going to see this and be like, how can I combine all of this stuff into one device? And to be honest with you, that's kind of a nice idea. That's kind of a nice idea that you can have this all in one unit that can check your blood pressure, check your temperature, check your fecal matter. I mean, optional, of course. And you can have all this, and it could really help. It could aid, especially in things like telehealth visits. Because if you think about it, most telehealth visits are basically Skype, but they have no diagnostics unless you have something. So why not? Why not add to that? Why not turn your toilet into your doctor's office? I mean, I'm not joking. This is absolutely true. But you get these ideas when you think outside the box.
Yeah, and of course there's going to be that. There's there was another. No, these are all stories that I'm just kind of. Oh yeah,
I saw. Oh, I love that. I love this one though. I actually like this idea.
I know that you in particular are a fan of like not the widescreen, more square kind of displays.
We've talked about this on this show that I thought these things were coming. I like this. I like this idea a lot. I actually might look into this when it comes out.
Oh yeah, something that you actually like. That's
Well, I mean, look at it though. I mean, if you again, we talked about this. Computer monitors are erroneously 16:9 because that's the standard for Hollywood movies, and they never used to be like this. Like this is like 16:9 monitors are a relatively recent thing. They used to be bigger and wider, and thankfully they're starting to return to like 16:10.
Well, this is 16:18. Yeah.
That's a monster. I love it. Look at that thing. You're not going to game on that thing, but not everybody wants to game.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, like I even had a monitor from our friends over at ViewSonic, and when I was done reviewing it and checking it out, I like being able to rotate the monitor vertical, and I actually gave it to my mother, and she uses it to scroll Pinterest and things like that all day long. Like the vertical monitor, like that, like there's still people that go in there and like like technicians and stuff like that. They go in there like, wow, that's a
they're
monitor.
all over the place.
Yeah,
the 16, the vertical. But little hint for your listeners: most monitors are vertical. If you get another stand, you can easily buy a $20 Visa mount or a Visa stand and turn that. Because have you seen some of the stands? You don't have to say right now, but you review monitors too. Yep. Some of them come with really stupid stands that are not designed for the average person. They're like Spider-Man spread all over your desk. You get a nice 100, because most of these are 100 by 100 Visa. And you can put one on the back.
75 let's see, 75 by 75, 100 by 100, all that good stuff. Like I am currently using a monitor that I actually paid for myself, and Alienware, it's actually been really, really great. I mean, I think Dell makes great monitors.
What size is it?
I mean, it's a 32 by 9, but it's
32.
Yeah, it's
1440p or 4K.
It's something it's not 1440p, but it's not 4K as well. It's somewhere below that. But anyways, my point is that the stand for it, man, I wish it was just weighted and way more compact, because it does kind of take up the entire desk, and that's a bit annoying. It certainly is.
You have wait. So you're telling me it's still using the stock stand?
Yeah. I mean, it's heavy metal and it's not cheap. It's not some cheap random plastic. It's yeah, of course it is. Why?
Well, you said it takes up the whole desk.
That's true.
Get a Visa mount. They're cheap and they're easy. I got 3 of them.
I have that, but then I also have a 3 monitor, kind of stand.
Oh, one of those robot arms, yeah,
and it comes up from the back of the desk. So like I let it take up the whole desk, and then I have all 3 other monitors do that. So actually, real quick, chatter in the room, Rover mentioned saying, I said when getting item free, company expects great reviews out of the item. When you buy the item and give review, good or bad or other, more honest. So he's essentially hitting back on reviewing these things and saying that it's one thing for the reviewer to try to be objective about it, but it's another thing that companies they're investing, even though, let's face it, the cost of the product for them might be, for the consumer, $600-700, for the company, $100 or $200 or $300, but they're still expecting something out of sending you.
What's the chatter's name?
USS Rover 1.
Okay, Rover 1. Here's some inside information. The company doesn't care if Ben or I give good reviews. They don't care. They'd like it, but not going to lose any sleep over a bad review.
That's true.
Because little known secret, the way it works, if you're talking about it, that's what they want. Like there are companies that literally pay you. I know, Ben, they contact you too. They will contact you to put sponsored content on your site that has nothing to do with products, because all they want are keywords to be notified. For example, if you're going to do Alienware gaming monitor and you have a website, you have a page that says Alienware gaming monitor, their hit count goes up. You could say it's the worst thing since Hitler.
Backlink, yeah.
They don't care about the good review. Like that's a bonus. But because here's another thing. All the stuff that Ben and I could say badly could be what someone else wants. It's really strange how how the metrics work when it comes to reviews. But at the end of the day, they don't necessarily expect a good review. They expect content, and as long as you generate content, then everything else is secondary. It's strange how that works, but it does kind of work.
Yeah, and I always, I can safely say that we've never done it, and as far as I know, Popzara hasn't done it, but though they get pretty shameless when they're like, just throw this on the site, we'll pay you. Just throw this link.
All the time. I'm not gonna. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Are you kidding? I have a label for those people. I color code their emails. I know who they are, and they know who they are too, because they're naggy. But
right.
If a publisher gives a website or a web outlet or a television outlet a product, it is not a quid pro quo. It is not saying you have to publish this. It's not.
That's true.
Full disclosure. I'm going to piss somebody off for this, but whatever. There was a major publisher who sent us a very, 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 very big game to review about a month and a half ago. Very big game, AAA blockbuster, one of the top 10 bestselling. You'll have to figure it out. There was a proviso that said, here's all the restrictions that you must agree to before you can review this. And one of the restrictions said, you cannot state that this review code was given to you in the review.
That's stupid.
And no,
probably
not only
illegal.
is it stupid, it's illegal because here's the thing. If you review something and you get review codes, products, whatever, you have to disclose it. It's it's an FTC requirement. So I'm sorry, but I kind of know the rules better than these publishers do. You have to disclose it. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it doesn't mean you'll see this all the time on websites that say this review was given in trade for a product. My honest review was given for trade sample or something. Mommy blogs are filled with this stuff. But no, I mean, there's no expectation of a good positive review because you got a freebie. I don't consider it free. I consider it work. I consider it trade. They give you something as an evaluation. That's what they used to call it. And most of the time you give it back. And I think that's perfectly fair. Sometimes they don't, sometimes they do. But it depends on the company and the stock. But I promise you, the company's not losing $1,000 giving you $1,000 monitor. They're at best, they've allocated those. They've allocated review samples for that. So it is what it is.
Yep, and of course, so that whole review thing, thank you for the question, and honestly, he actually called in and left a message, but hell if I know how to, check the Zoom messages.
What's that? Call and leave messages? Don't know what that is.
Voicemail, who knows? But I will say that, let's wrap around real quick, Nathan. So obviously do you have a precise head count of who's going out to CES with, I'm assuming you're going as well?
No, it's just one. A lot of it has to do with COVID. Actually, I'm going to be having a medical thing around the same time, and I'm not allowed to be around the COVID vaccination at the time. So, but long story short, our good buddy, our good colleague, Mr. Herman Exum is going for his umpteenth time. He's been there at least 15 times. Yeah, he knows the place like the back of his hand. He's going to be going, and that's more than I can say for T-Mobile. So, yay!
More than I can say for us. Although I think like my plans are going to be live stream the whole thing, and I've already set up like 15-minute kind of like interview slots for people to call in, and hopefully my kind of little strategy works. Even if they don't go to the actual show, they will still keep their their call time. So hopefully we'll have interviews here on the show.
Can we just say, and also that a well-placed trade show, right, will have these contingencies built in. A good planner, a good attendee like T-Mobile or Samsung, whatever, would be able to replicate their show online. They would be able to still take requests and still take interviews.
Yeah.
And one thing that we didn't mention in some of these cancellations is that who runs CES? Is it CTA?
No, it's not CompTIA, is it? It's CS organizers.
I think it's CTA, but I'll say this. They've mentioned that.
You're right.
Yeah, they've mentioned that they've had all these cancellations, but they've also mentioned they've got new attendees signed up. So it's not just one way. And that's the problem about horrendous websites like The Verge. Like they put themselves up there and they say, cancellations is going to, but no, there's other people taking their place. The show's going to happen. And it's not all doom and gloom. These websites, man, they always try to phrase everything as negative and get people scared, because anytime we can insert Omicron into the story 50 times, you know what I mean? I get it, right? I get it. But it's not like that. They need to stop that stuff. It removes whatever. I don't even know the word anymore. I can't. Can I swear on this podcast?
Absolutely.
Okay. It removes their duty heads, because they're coming off as doo-doo heads.
Good
I mean,
Lord.
Honestly, yes. I know. I'm so sorry for this. I'm going to have to repent. No, but I mean, but seriously though, Ben, when they can't help themselves, And it does a disservice not only to themselves, their reputation, but it also does a disservice to the people, their readers, who are expecting to see content. But it also does a disservice to the attendees who have their reputations besmirched like this. It makes like T-Mobile seem like cowards, and it makes the other companies seem like they don't care about the safety of their employees, and that's not right.
No, and I'm sure that, let's face it, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, Omicron wasn't even like a thing on anyone's radar, and a lot of companies are just trying to do what's best for, their employees, and they're trying to, kind of respect everyone's health. But of course, everyone wants CES to happen. I'm sure that, and yes, myself included, there's no one that wants CES to, fold and buckle and cancel the event. Everyone's just trying to do the best that they can. So
people genuinely like CES. I like CES, and it's a fun show. There's a lot of fun stuff. And can I just say this also? There's a lot of smaller tech companies. They concentrate on Twitter and Amazon and T-Mobile, but the vast majority of people who go to CES are very small. They're upstarts. They're people who's literally spending their whole budget on the possibility that someone from Popzara or Computer America will happen to walk by them and happen to stop and say, get a card and say, please talk about my product. This is all I got. We've met people like this, and they deserve to be treated a little better than these nasty friggin' websites are treating them. Seriously, screw them.
Yeah, and of course, there's events also like, let's see, I just got an email about an hour ago from Pepcom. Yeah, Pepcom saying that they're still doing their whole thing, which is, more to that point where smaller companies or less known companies, can make their splash. I'm sure that Showstoppers is there as well. So.
Steve will outlast every virus. He's too crusty. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but I will say, all this being said, I expected this to happen this CES. Next CES, I'm really looking forward to going there, and hopefully, and like, let's face it, there will be a CES 2023, regardless of how this one shakes out. So let's move on a little bit, Nathan, because I think we spent enough time on that. CES is still happening. Looking forward to Herman and what he's going to do. I'd love to join you because, even though I'm not going there in person, I will be covering it extensively.
We'll figure something out.
So if you want to do a Popzara podcast, I'd love to sit in, and if that's me inviting myself onto your show. So there you go.
It's like that's never happened before. So no, we'll figure out. We always have a lot of fun. We work well together at the show.
Absolutely. So let's see. So there's that. Let's move on to some other topics. You sent a couple over. Let's talk about. Did any of these catch your mind before I just kind of jump into another one?
It depends. Like full disclosure, we're doing this right before Christmas.
That's true.
The oceans have all receded, getting ready for CES. So it's dry pickings. There's not much, and everything. All the buzzards have gotten all the best oysters. That being said, there was a really dumb story that came out, speaking of the Verge, but they're the only ones who reported it. The one about Radio Shack. Did you see this?
I had it pulled up before you even said it. I was like, dumb story? I got this. I know which one.
Well, I don't really want to get into NFTs or anything. Let's just be fair. NFTs are stupid. I think we both agree with this. Have you seen...
I have said on the show multiple times, NFTs are scams, and they are actually horrible.
They are scams.
And the number one NFT out there, which is like the Bored Ape Yacht Club, they are literal hacks.
Did you see what happened with them?
Which one?
They claim to have misallocated a period or a comma, and so like some NFT that was supposed
one
to sell
person sold it for $3,000 instead of $300,000.
Bull crap. Real quick PSA. Go watch the new South Park movies, the ones that have been on Paramount Plus. Have you seen them?
Post-COVID or whatever? No, not
post-COVID?
Yet. No.
Oh my goodness, the funniest thing to come out of that show in a long time. NFTs play a major role, and I got to tell you, God bless the South Park people for taking these scams down. Basically, if you ever want to know what an NFT is in shorthand, it's basically an Excel spreadsheet where someone takes your money and they put in the electronic ledger this hexadecimal code saying you own this code. It's a scam.
So here's and I had the perfect analogy or I read it on Reddit or something like that, or I heard it from somewhere. Nathan, this is like the company back in the early 2000s that promised to register a star to a person, so you can point at the star and go, "This is your star," and it's like you have to trust the credibility that random website that started 6 months ago that you paid $80 to has the ability, and everyone
I heard that
recognizes
analogy and I like it.
that they have the authority to name that star after you. No, according to that random website, you own that star, but everyone else, who gives a shit?
Someone just decided to do it. And it's like what Kermit the Frog said in the Rainbow Connection. Someone thought of it and someone believed it. But you know a better example? It's those dumb people that get their heads cut off and frozen, thinking that sometime in the future, what do they call it? What's the name for that?
What's that?
The people who get themselves frozen, thinking that they're going to be unfrozen. What's it called?
Futurama? Yeah, I don't know.
No, I'm asking you because I forgot. People who get
cryogenically frozen.
Cryogenic is just a few letters away from crypto. And real quick, so you're telling me that someone convinced someone else with a lot of money that they're going to get all their blood drained to kill them, freeze them, and on the hopes that maybe in the future they'll invent a way to unfreeze you. Let me get this straight. We can't unfreeze you now, but in the future, someone may develop a way to unfreeze you. Yeah, someone's getting scammed, and that's what NFTs are.
Yeah, it's
exactly the same.
Okay, so NFTs besides, and I would say
anyway,
crypto in general, and just real quick, I even read an article the other day saying that crypto at its base level as well is that I think it was like the top 0.01% of crypto holders, like the amount of people who hold the most crypto, hold like 75% of all crypto that's out there. You know, people who are early adopters and have tons of it, they own the majority of it. And then on top of that, Nathan, I even read things like, the transactions that happen on the blockchain are either from two wallets with the same owners, or essentially making change for $1. So you have $1 worth of Bitcoin, and they give you back 4 quarters. So there's no actual transaction. The point is, all of the movement and moving parts and stuff, it's owned by a small amount of people who are driving the most interest, and they're trying to get everyone into something that no one really cares about.
Ironically, it's exactly like how a real gold mine works. A bunch of rich people hire slaves to dig out gold particles so they can get the majority of the gold particles. And then they can trade most of the gold particles, and maybe a few flecks fall down and coat the slaves, and they can lap it up. That's why they call it gold farming. That's why they call it mining.
I would say that gold
the terminology is the same.
Gold is generally valuable. I would say this is more like diamonds, and the whole diamond trade and how diamonds aren't really that valuable, but it's like was it Bears or whatever is controlling the diamond market?
It's clear because the idea they say gold's a finite resource, but they keep finding it, and they say Bitcoin's a finite resource, but they keep mining it. It's like they'll keep finding something the more they want. And by the way, I'm all for Bitcoin. I'm all for cryptocurrency. I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. It pisses off, its existence pisses off the right people. That being said, when we get into we're firmly in the market now where all the idiots that are coming in and they don't know how to do it. They don't know how to enter the market. And you got 3 different things of it. One, you have Jack Dorsey, the Twitter guy, leaving Twitter so he could become a crypto guy. And I thought to myself, people forget that Jack Dorsey was a failed influencer before he made Twitter. At his heart, he wanted to be the guy that posts those Instagram photos and makes money that way. That's his dream. It didn't work. He made Twitter, and now he's going back. He's going to cryptocurrency where he can sort of influence people again.
Anthony, you're saying this guy is a failed influencer. He influences me daily. Jack Dorsey, impressive. Impressive. No, but let's get that off my screen. He's also the CEO of another company. I think it was Square. And
what is Square? Now it's called Block, and it's getting sued.
Whatever it is.
But then you have Elon Musk, who's my new heartthrob.
Is that the new tech strategy where as soon as you get sued by someone big enough, you just change your name and hopefully they don't find you anymore? Like,
it's not new. I told you it goes back to
Meta.
It goes back to that other online pyramid scam. What was it called? It changed its name to Quickstar. What was it called?
Quickstar?
It used to be called. It is Quickstar now, but what was it called before?
I have no idea what Quickstar even is.
It's not spelled like you think. It's before the internet was really big. This company would send you pamphlets and they'd recruit you and they'd say, hey, you want to buy some vitamin pills? Well, guess what? You could sell them to all your friends and make money. And then they'll sell it to their friends and make money.
So multi-level marketing. Amway.
Exactly.
Got you. Yes.
Amway. When Amway when the brand name became so damaged, they changed their name to Quickstar, which is exactly what Facebook did with Meta. And that's exactly what Dorsey's doing. But also, Elon Musk is having fun by manipulating the markets by being awesome, by going out there and saying crazy things. He's reached the level of wacky billionaire that I find enchanting because he realizes he has so much influence. He doesn't care. And he's going after the right people, like Elizabeth Warren, who doesn't understand cryptocurrency the way she doesn't understand Native American cooking. And so the idea, I'm sorry if I apologize to real Native Americans, which he is not. But I will say this, but you have these people that don't understand the cryptocurrency market. Like I remember being in the theater a couple months ago for the first time, and I saw the Matt Damon commercial where they were announcing they were changing the Staples Center to crypto.com. And I thought to myself, this is fantastic. This is fantastic. We are about to enter a new world of which something that sounds all futuristic-y is going to separate fools from their money really bad. Because I used to have to go to Micro Center to see that. Like all my video cards would be gone and they'd say, I'm sorry, we have to limit one video card or go to Newegg. But now it's supply chain all the way, baby. There's no video cards. There's no computer parts. There's nothing because everyone is spending their kids' college money trying to get in on this cryptocurrency thing, which is way past getting into. That's where Radio Shack comes in.
My immediate and just real quick, like my only anecdote because to get some exercise because I am in peak physical condition. But I used to go to my local mall and they had a Bitcoin ATM that you could put in actual money. I'm assuming it just shreds it right there on the spot, and then it would it would send Bitcoin to a wallet. And there was a guy there, and he just has a fistful of hundreds, and he's just pumping in $100 bills into the Bitcoin ATM, which I'm sure is taking a massive transaction fee every time he's doing it. And I was just like, he was someone who looked like he was living on a fixed income, kind of elderly and, just someone who is probably heard from their grandkid or something that, hey, Bitcoin, it's something you need to get into. And he was putting a lot of money into it.
It's like the lottery, man. Like when you hear the lottery, your chances of winning the lottery are the same every single day. It's almost nothing. But when the lottery goes up to 400 billion, people think they have a better chance. And you see people line up around the block, like my chances are better now. They're not.
Yeah, well, I guess it's like, $10 million. What is that really going to do for you? 400 billion. No, that's walking around money. You can do something with that.
Well, someone once said, of course it's easy. If it's easy, everyone can do it. And that's why people play the lottery because it's minimal investment. And the person you saw at the Bitcoin ATM, I've seen that. We have a Bitcoin ATMs here where I live. And you see people who you would never associate with crypto or internet going to these things because they think they're getting something out of it.
Right.
And that's the problem. But can we go Radio Shack for a second? Because this is so stupid.
Yeah,
this might be the nadir of this whole thing.
This is, and much to my point about, people that you wouldn't associate with cryptocurrency and, of course, like the Bitcoin ATM, like Radio Shack is a brand that, back in 15 years ago, they were the go-to place to find batteries and cables and random.
I love Radio Shack. Loved them.
Walkie-talkies.
Tandy computers, everything. Yeah.
But now, they went through bankruptcy. They closed like all their physical locations, and much like Toys R Us popping up, in random malls and stuff like that. It's just a well-known brand 10 years ago, but still well-known, and now they're doing weird other things. So, what is Radio Shack doing?
Well, someone obviously bought the Radio Shack brand for a penny or a song, maybe with cryptocurrency. But now they're rebranding as Radio Shack DeFi, aka DEFI. You just bravo for the audacity of that local people. DeFi.
Yep. DeFi. I gotcha.
DeFi?
Yeah, DeFi. That's what it is.
You connect to the Wi-Fi? So
yes, it is the Wi-Fi in our house. Yes, absolutely.
The Wi-Fi. Like you like downloading internet GIFs.
We say GIFs in this household. Absolutely.
No, I say GIF in my peanut butter. But anyway, let me just read some of this press release real quick, because once I read you some of the press release, what more is there to say? So here comes from the official website statement, why Radio Shack defy. It says, quote, Radio Shack is uniquely positioned to bridge the gap and cross the chasm of mainstream usage for cryptocurrency. The most important day for any new emerging technology is the day at which it crosses the chasm, the moment of mass adoption, even among the most skeptical consumer. Until the iPhone, Tesla's self-driving car, or Amazon.com crossed the chasm, but they were but an embryo in the economic womb. But after that crossing, they became the trillion-dollar assets or close to it. We intend Radio Shack to be the first protocol to pass over to mainstream usage in the history of DeFi. And then they go on and they basically say, and I quote, Radio Shack and Radio Shack alone can bridge the gap. If you invest in this, you are stupid.
You know, I was
just dumb.
Nathan, do you know how many times I lay in bed late at night staring at the ceiling going, man, I need Radio Shack. I need them to fix X. And yeah, their name is the first one that comes to my mind every time I have a problem or technologies to cross, age gaps, I guess they're saying. I don't know what Radio Shack's strategy here is.
The Radio Shack is to steal money from dumb people. That's a
good strategy. A lot of people have made a lot of money doing that. That's fine.
If you read this entire press announcement is so riddled with tired cliches about word associations and brand acknowledgments. It is someone took a class, did not finish the class in brand marketing, went to YouTube and Googled or typed in how to be an entrepreneur, and just regurgitated all the lessons. And it's terrible.
Well, they did say its parent company, Retail E-commerce Ventures, owns other brands like Pure One Imports. Remember them? And they may launch a Pure One coin through Radio Shack's system. So, of course, trying to just get every most recognized name, even though they're defunct, even though they don't really have any kind of presence anymore, and get them to launch a coin through Radio Shack's system. And therefore, I guess, Nathan, giving legitimacy to Radio Shack's system?
Let me just read the last part of this because this
is a bit auto-fallacious, but
no, we haven't reached the happy ending of this diatribe.
Go for it.
Listen to this. The need for a bridge between the CEOs who control the world's corporations and the new world of cryptocurrencies will likely come in the form of a well-known century-old brand. Quote, Radio Shack is perfect. And the first product to kickstart this long journey is a token swap. Just the audacity, the lack of scruples, and the total hubris.
You know what
I'm almost interested in following this to see where it goes.
Well, you know what I kind of like about this is, of course, the comments, and I gotta say the first comment, the highlighted comment for The Verge. Please crawl back into the hole that was your grave, Radio Shack. So. Yeah, that's a good summary on how I feel as well. I mean, really, they're taking names from the past and trying to revitalize them, or let's be honest, squeeze the last bit of juice out of a already squeezed melon. It's
do you remember when Steve Jobs, before like his style of communicating became sort of a joke? Where there would be a stage and he would walk across the stage and talk about things. Yeah, but he was masterful at it because he was selling Apple products. But it became a joke where somebody would again. This is a well-known tactic in tech, where what you do is to it's like writing a college paper, where to reinforce your idea you would have to do callbacks to other ideas. Cite your sources. So it's when they would say things like Einstein, Edison, Chef Boyardee.
As if to be associated with them, yeah.
Exactly. And if you say them enough with your name, you become associated with them. And I almost couldn't believe this was real. I thought this was like an April Fool's joke. But this is really real. And I thought to myself, this is going to be fun to watch this go down in flames. And I thought to myself, every proper cult can only be a cult if it has cultists. And so we'll see how this goes.
So speaking of brands trying to transition, and I think honestly, Radio Shack transitioning into a crypto empire, maybe. Why not? Sure, why not?
Sure.
But this other one,
as possible as anything,
that might actually be even harder is this story here about Tim Stokely, the founder and CEO of OnlyFans, steps down because the new CEO, and really what the board of OnlyFans has tried, is they want to get away from porn. And I gotta say, Radio Shack becoming a crypto empire seems more likely than OnlyFans getting away from porn.
I'll just say this. I only have one comment. I just have one comment and nothing else. Worked for Tumblr.
Did it?
That's my comment.
Oh, okay.
Worked for Tumblr.
I got you. And of course, it's not even this one, but also to bring other names into it. I know that Reddit as well is looking to do a lot of the same thing. Like, it's almost like sanitization of your products that made them popular, and then of course trying to get more advertisers. It is a
fundamental misunderstanding of the concept of the product. It's like when BlackBerry didn't understand how to segue away from emails. It's like, it's like MySpace not understanding why people like Facebook. Mm-hmm. Like, if your product becomes famous for one service and one service only, and you say, you know what, we don't need that service anymore, you don't have a backup plan. Well, it was nice knowing you. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I have a hard time to believe, but hey, new CEO, new head of the helm, and
sure.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see about that. Okay, so there's that story. And honestly, Nathan, like, I kind of want to keep this about an hour, so we have about 10 minutes left.
Sure.
I know that we could talk all day.
Sure.
Let's see. I don't want to talk about Mark Zuckerberg, so let's see some of these other stories I had here. Alexa and how they're not really getting as much engagement through Alexa as they would hope they would. So not that one. Not going to talk about Steve Ballmer. His time has passed. Some other cool stuff, but I did want to kind of end with two movies, and you sent them in your notes.
Oh, sure.
I want to start with The Matrix, because that's one I have not seen, but still might go see. So spoilers, please no, but let's talk about The Matrix.
Sure.
Why not reboot a series 10 years old?
I couldn't spoil this for you anyway, because that would imply that I understood it. Full disclosure, I watched The Matrix yesterday. Was it yesterday? It came out yesterday. No, it came out today. I have HBO Max, so I saw it as soon as it came out. I don't sleep, so I plugged it. I plugged back into The Matrix. I watched it probably 3:30 this morning, so I was wide awake with coffee, so I was pretty jittery, all that. How do I say this? No spoilers. It's an interesting concept. How do I say this? It's an interesting concept from Lena Wachowski, who, of course, is solo directing this time, I suppose. Used to be the Wachowski brothers. Of course, a lot of things changed.
They're sisters
in the last 20 years. Yeah, it's a solo. And I think, was it David Mitchell? Not the David Mitchell from Mitchell and Webb. Are we the baddies? No.
Yeah.
It's the Mitchell from, like, Cloud Atlas and everything. And here's the thing. There are going to be people who absolutely love this movie, who this is the second coming of everything they've ever dreamed for. And then the other 99% are going to hate it. And the reason being is because it's not a very good movie, and it's not even well made. And that's the problem.
Really?
That's the problem that happens with these 20-year-old sequels, is they run out of ideas. And that's one of the things that's actually interesting, is that the movie comments on this. They even name check Warner Brothers. They say Warner Brothers wanted a sequel, whether you want to do it or not. The summary is that Keanu Reeves is back. Of course, he's older. We find out that the first three Matrix movies were video games, and that he is the biggest game designer in the world. And he basically, the movies you saw were basically the video game of what he did. And that's an interesting concept by itself. The idea that he goes to therapy, that he struggles with an identity crisis of whether what was real was not. Then, of course, things happen. No spoilers. The Matrix is real. It envelops, take him back into the real world, which is not like Toontown and Roger Rabbit. The idea is the Matrix is real, that the video games are a manifestation of that. So it's I guess you'd call it meta. And so It sounds confusing. It really is. The problem I have with it is that it doesn't look as good as the original Matrix is. Like, a lot of time has passed. Special effects have changed, this and that. But everyone doesn't seem happy to be here. No one seems awake, with the exception of Carrie-Anne Moss, and of all things, Neil Patrick Harris. Keanu does not want to be in this movie at all. He'd rather be making John Wick.
Hey, sometimes you just need a paycheck, or not.
He doesn't even change his look. He looks exactly the same as he did in Cyberpunk. This is a sequel that the movie itself kind of hints that it didn't need to happen. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't say anything. It doesn't add to the mythos. It doesn't distract from them. It's not destructive like the Star Wars movies have been. But can I just say this? Do you still want to talk about the other movie real quick?
I do.
Okay. Have you seen it?
The other movie? No Way Home. Yeah. Yes, I have. Yes.
Okay. Let's talk about No Way Home, because No Way Home does exactly what this movie does in a very different way. Do you want to spoil? Do you want to say spoilers or no?
Let's see.
I guess can we compromise?
Lightly, yeah. Honestly, okay. Wait, real quick. Everyone, No Way Home spoilers, and then we're going to wrap up the show. That's going to be it. So if you want to tune out now and not get anything, that's your business, and we appreciate it if you stay, but if you don't want to stay for spoilers, that's great. Nathan, go ahead. Fucking spoil everything.
Real quick, one quick thing. If you want to see The Matrix Resurrections, whatever, just get HBO Max, get a free trial, see it for yourself, make up your own mind. I happen to not like it. Other people might disagree. Make up your own mind. That's the whole point of The Matrix. But Spider-Man No Way Home, chances are, if you're listening to this podcast or show, you've probably seen it. The movie broke box office. It didn't just break pandemic records. It broke all records.
Yeah.
It's the third biggest gross of all time for a new movie. It's incredible. And there's a reason for that. There's a really good reason for that. People say, oh, it's a good movie, but they didn't know that going in. The movie promised something, and I think you would agree, it delivered on a central concept that has never happened before in movies.
What's that?
Not really. It canonized the past in a way that I've never seen happen before.
It did.
We've seen bridge movies like Star Wars, like Star Trek. Like they'll find ways to mesh generations together.
Well, even to the example you just gave about The Matrix, like those were video games. Those were inconsequential. Exactly. You wasted your time.
Yeah, exactly. What you loved wasn't real. And like even Ghostbusters, like they'll find ways to bend reality, but there always has to be a bridge getting from the old to the new. This movie says, screw it, magic, metaverse. For those who don't know, third movie with Tom Holland as starring as Spider-Man. However, the conceit of the movie promised in the trailers was that the old villains would come back from the old movies that are not canonical to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They're
Doc
different
Ock
versions.
In particular, yeah.
Doc Ock in particular, but I would say,
and Green Goblin, of course, yeah.
Willem Dafoe, who's the MVP of the movie, I would say. Yeah, I would say
he did amazing,
giving maybe the best villain performance in any Marvel movie to date. I would argue.
For what should have been just like the original Spider-Man, for what should have been a really, really stupid villain. Oh my God, that was one of my favorite Spider-Man villains yet.
He's absolutely outstanding, and everybody's outstanding in this movie. Even Jamie Foxx is better than he was before. Spoilers. It's not only the villains that come back; they bring back the two cinematic Spider-Mans, Andrew Garfield and of course Tobey Maguire. And everybody kept the secret. And when it showed up, there was an explosion of euphoria where people were watching something they hadn't seen in a long time. They were watching everything positive and joyful and happy and wonderful about movies without being told that they're terrible, that they're nostalgia driven, that they should feel bad that they like something. When
Andrew Garfield ripped his mask off, the theater I was sitting in erupted in cheers. Mostly female, but it erupted in cheers.
Well, it wasn't just that though. Like there was other good parts too. Like when they had Matt Murdock, the kid from Netflix's Daredevil, he showed up as Daredevil, as the lawyer at the beginning. They now canonized the Netflix shows. It's amazing. And they did it in a way that should have felt cheap, but it felt like a real homecoming. Like even if you're tired of Marvel movies, even if you're tired of justifying these, the fake outsets, there's no denying that people really like these characters. And they get to see these characters not only come on the screen and not be bastardized, but to have conclusions and to fulfill them in a way that their own movies didn't do. Like you said, Andrew Garfield, he has the big scene when he saves when he saves MJ, echoing back that he couldn't save Gwen. People, and he like, are you okay? And people in the theater were screaming and crying and everything. Like, that's wonderful. Or Tobey Maguire talking about, talking about Uncle Ben,
or talking about the webs out of the wrist. And I was like, see, I mean, they're talking about things that fans have been talking about forever.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah,
exactly. They're just sitting around talking and having fun, and they're like, "Oh, I love you guys," and everyone's cheering. This movie has so much heart, and for everything, movies like The Matrix and the Star Wars movies have done wrong, this movie does them so effortlessly right. That's why this movie will be big, because people love this. They love feeling like they don't need their expectations subverted. They need them met, because they're expecting a movie that will make them feel good, that will make them feel things. They don't want to go to the theater to be told how bad they are, or told that their old characters are trash, that the new needs to replace the old. Yeah, everything changes, right? But the Spider-Man shows a respect for the past that I've never seen.
Was there anything that you didn't like about that movie?
Oh yeah. But I had to think about it. Like, I have to think about how bad the story was. I had to think about how. Wait a minute, magic? Wait. Hold on a second. Spoiler.
Yeah.
You know. Go ahead. Well, I mean, seriously, like, okay, they forget Peter Parker exists, but they still video footage of him. Like, there's still, like, the logic gaps are still there.
But of course you can say magic, and they would have erased all that and all all that good stuff. But my main concern was more of Peter Parker and Doctor Strange. It was like, did you see Doctor Strange like What If? I don't know if those are canon or not. Okay,
but it did bother me. It did bother me how dumb Doctor Strange was.
I wish. This movie. I wish Doctor Strange didn't, about 6 or 7 times go, "You're just a kid, you're dumb, you don't know." And like, Doctor Strange is a doctor. Peter Parker is essentially a doctor. He's 18 years old, so he can't be a doctor yet. But, he is two super intelligent people, and they can't communicate. They can't sit down for 2 minutes and talk this out. Nope. It causes these problems.
What could have happened, what easily could have happened, right, in this movie, is reverse Wong and Doctor Strange characters. Like, let Doctor Strange go on a vacation and let Wong, the bumbling sidekick, be the one to screw it up. That's how you solve that problem. Sure. And then Doctor Strange has to come in and fix it. But instead they made Doctor Strange easily manipulable, and
I'm sure there was a contract he had to be on the film. Yeah, I'm sure there's a contract.
Well, what's funny? Did you see the trailer for the new multiverse?
Of course.
That director of that movie is Sam Raimi, the guy who directed the first 3 Spider-Man movies. So, I mean, and honestly, that's exciting, because he's coming back to do a superhero movie. He pretty much invented this genre in recent times, and of course he did Darkman as well, and Evil Dead and Army of Darkness. But no, I mean, I have to really think about what I didn't like. But the stuff that I did like, the goodies,
I loved it.
It overwhelmed. It was fantastic, and
I certainly did. And I think, like you said, everyone gave a great performance. Overall, the pacing was great. Didn't feel like it was too long. I mean, and like you said, it delivered on so many counts that. I don't know about you, but after, I kind of left there thinking, you know what? This feels like a good conclusion to Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
All 3 of them, by the way. All of them. And can I say the best part of the movie is the movie finally fixed something that we waited 20 years to fix.
What was that?
Willem Dafoe looked stupid with that stupid mask in the original movie. So there's a scene where he smashed it, and they literally just let him look like himself. And he doesn't need any makeup. He looked great in the new Green Goblin. He looked fantastic. And I think the movie consciously knows that it's fixing these problems and going back and giving them another chance. Yeah, I mean, honestly, sometimes look, can I be honest with you, Ben?
What's that?
Here, like Uncle Ben. Like, with great power comes great responsibility. But I will say this, though. Nostalgia only works if you liked it the first time around. And I think this movie plays on the fact that people genuinely love these characters.
So you're saying the Radio Shack nostalgia has nothing to do?
Nobody ever loved Radio Shack. They tolerate it because that's the only place you could buy batteries and sensor electrodes. But and as soon as Newegg came along, Radio Shack was toast. But this movie, I'll give it credit. They're probably going to do this with every Marvel movie. They're going to cheat. They're going to do it with the Batman movie, with the whole multiverse thing with Ben Affleck and everything, and Michael Keaton. And eventually we're going to say it's played out, but this movie did it right. And for this brief moment when we're all suffering from movie withdrawals, that this movie came along at the right time and made people feel good and happy to get outside and be joyful again, I'm all for it. That's the magic of movies. That's their job. That's their job.
And hey, I think if any film was going to be released at the end of the year and, kind of hopefully kick off, well, I know ever since Omicron, but hopefully kick off the, kind of starting up of movies again, because I think I read a poster somewhere that the next Doctor Strange movie is supposed to be like in May, hopefully. So
hopefully,
yeah, kicks it back off, and hey, Spider-Man did it well. I loved all that.
And there is one more thing. The Matrix is debuting on HBO Max and theaters, and I think the experiment is over. I think they've already said it. The idea they'd release day and date online and the movies. Mm-hmm. You look at what Disney and Sony have done by releasing these movies in theaters, they all perform well. But the movies that are released on Disney Plus or pay service, they don't do very well. Like people want, like we talked about this a year ago, and I predicted a year ago, and go back and find that episode. They say theaters are dead. Everything's going to be. I said, no way in hell that's going to happen. People love going to the theaters. They just need a movie to go to. Yeah, they need it. And you know what? Being in a big crowd, as I'm sure you were, hearing people cheer, it's fun. Yeah. It's pretty good.
It was very fun. And I Nathan, I'll be honest, a lot of movie theaters around here and and everywhere that I've been, they didn't just close down for the pandemic and then reopen their doors and dust everything off. Like a lot of them took the time and energy and effort to put in new seats and new experiences and put in they updated everything. So movies updated themselves, movie theaters I should say, and it was fun. I have a new love for going back to the theater that I've lost.
It's fun, even bad movies. Ago. I bet if you see The Matrix in the theater, it'd be better than watching it at home on HBO Max.
I'm currently in Texas, and they have Alamo Drafthouse here, and I gotta say they are doing things like Godzilla, like the original Godzilla release and stuff like that. Like it's fun. It really is. So
can I say something? I actually saw the Fathom events that put old movies back in theaters. There was an AMC theater close to us that was playing some classic Hayao Miyazaki films, and I got to see My Neighbor Totoro in theater. I'd never seen it. It's a 30-year-old movie, and you know what? Can I see it at home on HBO? Yeah, I can. Can I sit in the theater? Yeah, I can. I will sit in the theater. It's a lot of fun. It's beautiful. It's fun. It's fun seeing on a big screen. Go see it. Go out there.
I'm looking forward to movies adapting to, you could see and that's what movie theaters I think have come to realize is that you can see anything you want to see at home, online, maybe pirate it, whatever, who cares. But to get the experience of it, hey, you don't just have to get the latest blockbuster while it's important. You can show other films and you can show series of films and you can have, whole events, and that can be fun as well. So
much talk, man, is made about let's bring everything to everybody. Let's bring screens in front of everyone's face. Let's put earbuds on to isolate the world. Let's put VR glasses to isolate ourselves. But at the end of the day, they're going to fail. And the reason they're going to fail is that we are human beings and we are a culture. We are a creature of society. And I love it when they're wrong because I like being right. I have faith in humanity.
That and faith in humanity is a great way to end it. I will say that I wanted to end it on one more note, which is, of course, Happy Holidays, Merry Christmas, everyone. Yes. This is going to be the last program before December 25th. So, everyone, I hope that you have a great one. Visit family. Hopefully, the weather is not too inclement. I know, and I just say that because around here, Nathan, it's going to be like 82 degrees.
Where I'm at. Yeah, I'm in the Midwest, man. It's 70 degrees. This is not winter weather.
I don't feel Christmassy, but by God, I'm gonna eat myself like it is Christmas, or like it is Christmassy, anyways.
And so, big one, stay safe, everybody.
Absolutely, that one there as well, Nathan. Next time I hear from you will either be during or after CES, and I'm looking forward to everything that you and your team are going to do there. Everyone, check out popzara.com. We'll have a link in the show notes, and of course, everyone, thank you for tuning in. Nathan, any last words?
Yeah, be kind to each other, and that's it.
That's fair. No, hey, and that's a great way to end the show, everyone. And I wish that I had done more for Christmas, kind of thing, but I'm all over the place here. But hey, Nathan is a great stand-in for that. So everyone, we're gonna wrap this up here, and I have something for this. There we go. I have music. So, Nathan, of course, you can check out there. You have your latest podcast, which features prominently Halo. That was a lot of fun. I personally enjoyed that a lot. And everyone, hey, computeramerica.com, popzara.com. Until next time, have a great day. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye-bye.